people's choice. Music, weather, sports, and news. It's radio. The people choose. Everybody swinging to the swinging voice of radio. The people's choice. Big fry, small fry, dawn to dawn. It's radio that turns them on.
If you would like to hear Night Dreams Talk Radio on your local radio station, let them know. Tell them to check out www.nightdreamstalkradio.com, and thank you.
The views, opinions, and representations expressed on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network and its website are those of the hosts, guests, and participants, and are not necessarily those of or endorsed by the network, its affiliated stations and broadcasts, the management, other hosts, or advertisers of the network. The shows found on the Night Dreams Talk Radio Network can, but do not necessarily, promote any particular lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only, and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or condition, or give any medical or legal advice.
You're listening to my friend Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio, the best in paranormal radio.
Coming to you live from our secret underground studio. Hello, I'm James Creachbaum, filling in tonight for Gary Anderson. Gary will be back with us here on Monday night, and tonight's guest is Mary Joyce. She is the editor of Sky Ship's Over Cashier's website. How are you doing tonight, Mary? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm doing just fine, and it's really nice that you're able to help Gary out since he's recuperating.
Oh, he's been through a whole plethora of injuries. I feel for the guy.
The little I know, it sounds like it's pretty bad. But anyhow, he has my sympathy, and he's very fortunate to have you to help him out.
I'm fortunate that he gave me the chance. What do you want to start out talking about tonight, Mary?
Well, earlier today, I was working on a YouTube video that we're eventually going to put up, so this is something that I really haven't talked about on anybody's show. And the title of the video is going to be Sky Fishing for UFOs. And the reason I like to tell people about it is because anybody can have success finding UFOs and getting photos of them. All they need is just a simple camera. And I first learned about sky fishing back in 2009. And basically what it is the camera can often pick up UFOs in the sky that the human eye cannot see. And so sky fishing is basically just going out and aiming your camera and just snapping pictures of the sky, especially when it's clear or not too cloudy. And sometimes you will catch a UFO. And once I learned about this, I remembered and began to contemplate the very first photo we ever posted on our website, which is skyshipsovercashers.com. It was a photo taken by an 8-year-old, and she was out snapping pictures of the sky because the night before her mother had seen a UFO hovering over their yard, and it was low enough that it lit up the backyard. So she was very interested in what was going on in the sky. And one of her pictures, which they could not see until they went home and looked at her photos, was a perfect saucer-shaped UFO smack in the middle of the sun. In other words, it would be impossible for the human eye to look into the real brightness of the sun and be able to see that. But the camera could pick it up. So what I did is I started combining shooting pictures of the sun with this concept of sky fishing, and I was just amazed. Frequently, I would catch an orb adjacent to the sun, and I went up to a lake here that's in the mountains of western North Carolina, which is called Glenville Lake, and I just started snapping pictures very rapidly, one after the other, and when I zoomed in, this white orb would turn blue, so I began to call it the blue moon. And in the first set of pictures that I got, this blue moon is above the sun, and then sequentially it comes down by steps, and then it disappears into the brightness of the sun. And after that, I kind of went nuts for a while, snapping pictures of the sky, and began to post some of them on our website. And that's when it really began to expand, because other people would start to send their pictures in, and we got photos from San Diego and the San Gabriel Mountains out in California, and Texas, and Tennessee, and of course here in North Carolina.
Now,
and then it even got more. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask you, now, if people want to see those pictures, can they go to your website and they'll be on there to look at, to view?
Well, the website's been up for a long time, so you probably have to get into the archives. But if you go on the home page, there is a search bar, and type in Blue Moon, and some of them will probably come up just by typing that in.
Okay.
But all the photos are in the Skyship Photos section, which is listed on the home page. And we started getting these back in 2009, so you could go back to the archives that far back and start skimming through and see some of the photos that we have.
So you got 10 years worth of good stuff to look at.
Yeah. Now, we weren't going to be posting this all the time, so I certainly took a lot more shots than what we put on the website. But the second surprise after I began to get photos from, other states was then we began to post some that were from other places in the world. We had the ones I can remember is we had one from British Columbia, we had one from England, and we had one from as far away as New Zealand, which simply means that this phenomena is being seen globally, and it can't just be a camera lens effect because everybody's camera couldn't be doing the same thing.
Right.
So that's it.
I was just going to say, it's obviously worldwide, so anybody can do it and check this out.
Right. And once you start to get these pictures, you get really hooked. And the more you take, the more likely you might find something really unusual. The first real unusual one I saw was this orb, which I'll call the Blue Moon, was adjacent to the sun. But then I got a picture of it where there were orbs all around the little blue moon. And I went, wow, what is this? And there, at that time, there was a retired NASA optical engineer who was also involved with designing the Hubble telescope. And we showed him that picture, and he said it was not an optical effect, it was something else.
Wow. Well, there you go. That's what you're looking for. That's great. Is there any other things that people can do with cameras, similar to that to catch stuff?
Well, let me give you just two more things that we caught so that people will have a better idea of the unusual things that you possibly could get. There was another one where somebody took, rapid-fire pictures one after the other from Linville Falls, which is another high-elevation place in North Carolina. And the blue moon is, again, adjacent to the sun, but there is this faint red ball within it, or little orb within it. And then it kind of pops out, and it's on the side of the blue moon, and then it pops off, and it's flying by itself. So it kind of looks like, the UFO is giving birth to another one. And the third one, which again gives people an idea that you might find some really phenomenal things, is, again from Linville Falls, there was this blue moon next to the sun, and there was this shield between it and the sun. And both of them moved rather rapidly from one photo to the other. So if you take enough pictures, you might just stumble into something that is truly unique.
Absolutely. I know when I take pictures for different things I've done, investigations, I try to take 2 or 3 real fast in a row. And sometimes you get something in one and not in the other two.
And like I said at the very beginning, you don't have to have major equipment. Like I have a big Canon camera, and it's not as good at taking these because it wants to tell me I can't take the shot because the sun is too blinding. My small Canon camera doesn't act like a sensor, so I can just snap pictures and it'll work no matter what I do. So again, you don't have to have expensive equipment to to do this kind of thing, which I think is kind of great.
Right. Now, do you think that a lot of these UFOs, if they were from another world or whatever, do you think they're cloaking and then maybe the cameras can catch them sometimes and maybe the right angles and lighting and then sometimes not? Is that what you think's going on, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, what I'm talking about specifically here is this orb that's being seen around the sun almost all the time.
Oh,
and
okay.
When it's not being seen, it's not that it's cloaking, it's that it's disappearing into the brightness of the central sun. And that's why the pictures have revealed this. We see it actually go in and out of the, the white center of the sun. And so it's more just disappearing into a spot that the human eye can't see.
Wow. Now, I've seen something not too long ago, pictures where they thought, well, is this an alien craft trying to refuel from the sun? You think that might be a connection or just maybe a coincidence?
There's a picture we posted a bunch of years ago, and there is this round, I'll call it a UFO, that's right next to the sun. And this was a satellite photo by the NASA SOHO satellite camera that's always circulating around the sun. And this orb almost had like an umbilical cord that went into the sun, and it stayed there. I'm stretching my memory now. It stayed there for, I don't know, maybe a day or so. And, many of us speculated at that point that it was somehow drawing energy off from the sun because it truly looked like it was connecting with it. It was a very interesting photo.
Well, yeah, I can imagine. I think I've seen a couple of those pictures online somewhere, and people had theories from all kind of theories, craziness. But yeah, that's interesting stuff. What else do you got? Want to talk about from your website?
Another thing with the UFOs that your listeners might find very interesting is that back in 2013, we were contacted by a man from the Netherlands, and he was taking NASA photos, and he was cleaning them up. He used his computer to get rid of the interference and the debris so that you could see the UFOs more clearly. And the UFOs around the sun are humongous. As you know, Jupiter is our largest planet, and a number of these UFOs that are seen around the sun are much bigger than Jupiter. So they're really like moving cities. And when he cleaned these up, you could see remarkable details in them. And if people are interested in seeing those, go to, on our homepage, open up Global Links, and then go into the archives for 2013 and 2014. Those are the 2 years that he was providing us with these fantastic photos. And I haven't seen anything